Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Shan. Thank you so much for coming through. Now I want to speak to you guys about why you might be lonely. Okay, why you might be lonely. There's a lot of reasons why people are lonely. I'm gonna try and cover as much as I can. All right, like don't put me under too much pressure. It's something that everybody goes through at some point. I think one of the first reasons why people are lonely is just adult life in general is just very busy. All right, everybody has different commitments at different times, at different periods, at different everybody, right? Everybody is just busy. You might have children, you might have a job, you might have multiple jobs, you might be working on a business, you might be caring for somebody. Adult life is just taken over. It requires your attention, it takes everything from you. Okay, you might be working a 9 to 5 that's mad and just taking up your soul. And you ain't got the energy to show up, you ain't got the energy to even call anybody or even see anybody, because when it comes to your time of winding down or the weekend, you're just trying to just gather your thoughts for a minute. Like, you're just trying to gather your thoughts for a minute, but it takes over. Like, if you have multiple children, you're doing school and you're doing nursery run, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. That just makes you busy within itself. And children can have a major impact on you feeling lonely and feeling like you're just a mum. You're just showing up to the world as a mum. But you're not just a mum, you're many other things as well. But we're not going to get into that because that's not what this video is about. Maybe I should make a video on mum life. Might do that. Although you might be at work and doing all of these things, you might not be getting a chance to connect with the people that are really your, you know what I'm trying to say, really your homies. You might not have the chance to really catch up with those people that you love and you care for, because you just feel like you're on autopilot. You feel like you're on autopilot and haven't got the headspace to even invest into these relationships. That can make you feel a bit lonely and isolated from everybody, okay? Because you're constantly on the go. And you might have your work friends, okay? But sometimes work friends are different than homies. You know what I'm trying to say? Sometimes your work friends are different than homies. You might have homies at work, but they're work homies. But then you might have homies that are at work that are your real homies. But then you might have homies that you don't work with that are your homies and you miss them. Alright, you miss them because you're busy. Alright, you haven't seen anybody because you just get stuck in this cycle, okay? Adult life, work life, commitments have taken over, okay? And we need to find time to invest into our friendships, into our relationships, because life is short and tomorrow isn't promised, okay? Another reason why you might be lonely is you're paranoid, okay? You're paranoid, you don't trust nobody, you don't like nobody, you don't want to be around nobody, you're good on your own. Yeah, you're lonely because you're isolating yourself from people, okay? And a lot of the time, this is rooted in trauma, disappointment, all of that. And we need people, okay? No matter how self-sufficient you think that you are, no matter how much you're an introvert, no matter how much you like to be on your own, we need that balance. And everybody's balance looks different, okay? Like, I'm not going to say that you need to be around people at least a few times a week. I don't know how that works for you, okay? But my true belief is that we need community. We need people that we can call on. We need people that we can bounce off, okay? And we learn a lot about ourselves, okay? And it's healthy. It's healthy to connect with others. And when we go back to the hunter-gatherer days, right? We was in tribes, okay? We would share homes with other people. We would be living like right next door to our loved ones, okay? And obviously times have changed. But I don't want you isolating yourself to the point where it affects your mental health, okay? Because if you isolate yourself due to like anxiety or depression or low mood, I get there's a time to kind of deal with the things that you're going through. But you have to know when to come out of that, because the more you stay in it, the harder it is to get out of it. If you're isolating yourself due to anxiety, okay, the more that you isolate yourself, the more your anxiety will get heightened at the thought of being around others, at being outside, okay? And it seems contradictory to what anxiety tells you to do. Anxiety tells you to isolate, to withdraw, to stay away, not to be around anybody because this, that, and the other. But the more you stay in your safe place, right, the harder it is to come out of it, okay? And what you have to do is take small little steps, small enough that they're a challenge for you, but also big enough that they make you feel uncomfortable. Because, like, I've heard of people, I've supported people, I've spoken to people that have anxiety, and if it's something that you want to overcome, then you're going to have to challenge yourself to make those small little changes, okay? And a lot of people isolate themselves because they have trust issues. You don't trust nobody, you don't like nobody, like forget them. Forget them. They ain't for me, right? And that's rooted in bad experiences, okay? And now you're suspicious and you're wary of everybody. I don't want you to do that. If we could be childlike, you know, children make friends with everybody. Children will speak to everybody. Children have a forgiving heart. Children are very forgiving, okay? And they will beef with their friends today and they'll be friends again in 10 minutes. And that's how we need to be, very forgiving. And the Bible does talk about like forgiveness, okay? Because if you're holding bitterness, anger, resentment in your heart towards people, it's affecting you now, isn't it? Because now you're not going out and making new connections, making new friends, or even some of the people that you're no longer speaking to. Maybe those relationships could be rekindled, but you're angry, you're bitter, you're being stubborn, you're being prideful. Okay, maybe some of those connections can be restored if you just be the bigger person, put your pride aside, put your stubbornness aside and reach out, okay? Maybe you're the one that's got the issue. Maybe you're the one that has done something wrong. Maybe you're the one who needs to apologize. But because of your pride, because of your issues, because of you just being stubborn and not being somebody that thinks that they need anybody, you feel like you can just do it on your own, okay? But deep down, you feel lonely. Deep down, you're upset and you're questioning, why haven't you got anybody? Where's everybody at? Deep down, all right? Deep down, you do want connection. Deep down, you do want those connections and those friendships and those relationships back, okay? And you're lonely now. And it eats at you because really you're lonely. But in this situation, you could possibly do something to not feel lonely. Don't isolate yourself. Don't isolate yourself when there's people that actually love you, when there's people that are actually reaching out to you, when there's people that actually want to be there for you, show up for you, and think you're great. Think you're great. Think that you're a joker. Think that you add value to their lives. If you are feeling lonely and isolated due to depression, due to trauma, due to anxiety, seek out help. Like, don't try and do it on your own, okay? Like, listen, if you can't afford to go therapy, there's therapists on YouTube, right, that will talk you through the very thing that you're struggling with. No, it won't be personalized, but they will give you practical steps on what to do. Do something. Don't sit in it knowing that you want to change, okay? I believe that you have to invest in yourself. You can't just sit there waiting for other people to save you, waiting for other people to fix you, because that's another reason why people are lonely, is that you have crazy, unrealistic expectations as to how other people should show up in your life. So now, because you feel let down, because you feel that no one's supporting you, because you feel that people aren't there for you, people ain't calling you, people ain't doing this, that and the other, you feel let down. But you have a high expectation of people or unrealistic expectation of people. You can't do that. You can't do that, because it's no one's job to fix you. It's no one's job to make you better. It's, to be honest, no one really owes us anything, if I'm honest with you. And not only that, you have to be the friends that you want to have. If you want a friend that's supportive, if you want a friend that calls up on you and checks in on you, you have to ask yourself, are you that person? Because you can't expect all of this from somebody else and you don't do it. And even then, when you do something good for somebody, or when you do something from the kindness of your heart, you should do it without expectations, okay? You should do it without expecting anything in return. What would the world look like if everybody just loved everybody else more than they loved themselves? Wouldn't there be less hate? Wouldn't there be less poverty? Wouldn't there be less crime? Wouldn't there be less of everything? Families would look better, relationships would look better if everybody just loved everybody else more than they loved themselves, okay? Another reason why you might feel lonely is because it's that time. When I say it's that time, meaning it's that time, meaning you're supposed to feel lonely at this moment in your life, okay? Because you love road too much. You love street too much. You love being outside too much. You love always to be around other people too much. And at certain points in our life, there is a period where we have to just work on ourselves. We have to just isolate ourselves and just ride solo for a bit, where we can get into the habit of thinking for ourselves, okay, and not seeking the validation, the opinion, and always seeking out what other people will think about a situation, okay? Because some of you guys probably can't even think for yourself. Some of you guys probably always rely on other people's approval and opinions of things, okay? And sometimes we have to be isolated for a period of time just to work on ourselves, okay? Work on your traumas, work on your issues, think about your future, plan for your future, invest time into your children, invest time into your family, figure out this business, new venture that you want to work on. These things take time and investment, and sometimes there's certain things that you have to do alone. There's certain times you can't bring people with you, okay? Like you might be struggling with a situation, you might be struggling with a particular area of your life, and not everybody can come with you, okay? And that doesn't mean that you cut ties with them. That doesn't mean that you're not friends anymore. That doesn't mean that the relationship's dead. It just means that for this particular chapter of your life, you have to walk it alone. And for a lot of people, that's uncomfortable. That's uncomfortable because you might have not done it before. You might be so used to speaking to people all day, every day. You might be used to being seen and being on social media and just being everywhere, and any plan, any occasion that comes up, you're there, you're active, you're ready, okay? But there might be a chapter of your life where you feel a bit uncomfortable because now you're alone, you're a bit lonely, you feel like you're hidden, you feel like you're living life underneath the rock a little bit, okay? Sometimes that is very necessary for you to get to the next chapter of your life. Even though it might feel difficult, even though you might feel hurt, even though you might feel uncomfortable, right? It hasn't come to take you out. That chapter comes to bring out a better version of you that you didn't even know exists, okay? Because right now you might feel like, yeah, I got this, I'm good, like life is great, okay? And life still can be great whilst you're lonely, okay? Both of those things can coexist. I need you to embrace that chapter, okay? Embrace feeling lonely, figure out what you need to learn, and listen, from experience, I'm telling you, it can be for a while. You could be in this chapter for a while, okay? Like, you could be in this chapter or this period of your life for a year or two, okay, where you just go solo, you're just a bit quiet, and you might have to just communicate to like your friends and your family that I'm a bit quiet, but it's not personal, I'm just taking time out, okay? And you got to do what you've got to do. And from my experience, don't try and resist this calling. Don't try and resist where you feel like you need to be, okay? Embrace it, because it has to be done. It has to be done. Don't resist it, because some people do, okay? And this is why some people never face their demons. This is why some people do all the talking but never reach the next chapter of their life. You never see the results of all the things that they keep talking about, okay? And this is because in some cases, people resist being alone. Some people resist being lonely. Some people resist doing the inner work and staying away just for a minute because they feel uncomfortable in doing it, okay? Don't let that be you, because you could miss out on really getting the fullness of what you could learn, what you could discover, what you could create. Being isolated doesn't necessarily mean you're in a dark place, okay? It doesn't mean that everything's doom and gloom. It just means that like you're figuring stuff out. Like you could create something amazing. You could come up with a new plan, because now what you've done is you've silenced out the noise. You've silenced out everyone else's voices, everyone else's opinions, everyone else's input, okay? And people can have your best interest at heart and their opinion still isn't for you, okay? But if you're so used to being easily influenced, you're so used to always speaking to people and always being on the phone and being around people, it may be that you need to take time away just to hear what you would do in the situation, just to hear what God's telling you to do in the situation, okay? Because at the moment, you're probably around a lot of noise, okay? You're probably just active on social media, you're probably just everywhere, and you may not have quiet time long enough to know what the next step is that you should be taking, okay? So that's another reason why you might be isolated, why you might feel lonely, okay? But it's not doom and gloom, okay? It's a positive, it's necessary, and this is how people grow and become more self-aware, okay? You can't be outside all the time, right? You can't be outside all the time and be fully self-aware, you know? Like these things, like growth takes investment, okay? It takes an investment into yourself or whatever it is that requires your attention. So look, listen, your girl be spitting gems, you know. Your girl be spitting gems. Like, I know this, I'm confident of this, and if you ain't subscribed by now, I don't know what you're doing, okay? Because I know you're coming back. You're gonna be back. If you've made it this far, If you've made it this far in the video, you'll be back. So you ain't subscribed because what? What are you gonna tell me? Another reason why you might feel lonely is you don't like to make the first move, right? And when I say that, you don't like to suggest things, you don't like to put the idea out there, you don't like to do that. You feel a bit shy, you feel a bit like an introvert, you feel a bit reserved, you feel like, I can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that. But why not? Alright, you bored, you fed up, you feel like everyone else is living their best life, you feel like everybody else is outside, everybody else is doing this, that and the other, and you don't want to ask just in case of, you know, the person says no. You've asked them once before, they might say no again, or they can't do it. Listen, how long are you going to put your life on hold just hoping that somebody pops you up and says let's do this? How long are you going to put your life on hold because you don't want to just reach out and suggest things and make the first move or put ideas out there? I don't know about you, but I'm trying to live life to the fullest, whatever chapter I'm in, okay? Whatever season I'm in my life. And I want that for you too, okay? I don't want you to miss out on experiences and being able to just do things because you're shy, you're reserved, you're an introvert, or you've been let down in the past before, or just feeling like no one's going to want to do things with you, okay? Like, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, okay? And you might have to meet new people, might have to make yourself uncomfortable, okay? Because nothing good happens in comfort zones. So you might have to go places by yourself. You might have to reach out to people that you haven't spoken to in ages. You might have to reach out to the friends that you've already got and start suggesting things, start coming up with plans and ideas, and start waiting for other people to suggest things to you, okay? Because at the moment you're lonely you're lonely, and you might not be happy that you're lonely, but every day time's ticking and you're still sitting there hoping and praying or having this frustration because you want to do more, okay? Find a hobby. I am trying to think of like a social hobby. I'm thinking maybe netball. My cousin does netball and it seems quite cool, right? Imagine you go shooting hoops. Would you like come support me? Imagine like, would you come support me? Listen, all my subscribers, come on. You have to have a think about where you should be in this chapter of your life, okay? Pray about it. If you are depressed, if you are anxious, if you are fed up, if you are struggling with your mental health right now, it's so tempting to isolate yourself. It's so tempting to stay away. It's so tempting just to say, forget the world, forget you, right? But don't feed into it, okay? Don't feed into it. And just start small, okay? Start by going for walks. Start by just dropping your friends or your family or whoever, you know, just a quick message. Start by asking someone to go for a coffee. Even just do it by yourself, just to get into the habit of it, okay? But don't feed into it because it's tempting, and then what happens is it's like a downward spiral, okay? And then you find yourself in a rabbit hole and you think, how did I get here? And then the depression, the social anxiety, your low mood, your frustrations, like all your traumas and everything becomes louder than everything else, okay? It becomes the loudest thing in your life because why would you want to go outside? Anxiety is telling you don't go. Anxiety is telling you stay in. This is where you're safe. People are going to let you down, okay? Everything outside becomes quieter, okay? And everything that you're going through, everything that you're struggling with becomes the loudest voice, okay? But let God's voice be the loudest voice, okay? Let God's voice be the loudest voice. And sometimes you do have to be quiet. Sometimes you do have to take yourself away. But if we can get a healthy balance, okay? And like I said, everyone's balance looks different, okay? Everyone's balance looks different depending on whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, okay? Depending on so many things. But don't isolate yourself. Don't isolate yourself if you have the option not to, okay? Don't do it. It's not healthy. You can find yourself going down a downward spiral. But if you're somebody that believes that they're being called to take time out, to withdraw for a bit, to focus on themselves, to get your head down, to work on a few things, to invest time into yourself, your family, your business, whatever it is, right? Do it. Don't resist it because you might not get this time again, all right? You won't get this time again because time's passing, okay? Yeah, guys, I hope you've taken something from this. And if you are struggling, you can book in with me for some support around motivation, accountability, goal setting, and just helping you to get to the next chapter of your life, okay? Just helping you to break barriers, break cycles, and just to have a new perspective on the way that you're thinking in your life at the moment, okay? I'll put the link to my website in the description, but also check me out on Spotify, where I'm dropping weekly voice notes, random voice notes, just to talk to you guys a little bit more, okay? Because sometimes I might just be busy and I haven't got the time to sit down and record, but I've always got the time to talk. I've always got the time to talk, okay? I've always got time for you guys. I've enjoyed talking today. I think I've spoke a lot. But you know, Shan talk, this is what we do. I look forward to seeing you in my next video, which might be in a few days, you know? I'm dropping videos all the time, trying to get paid. Yo, listen, when I get paid, you are gonna know about it, okay? You're gonna know about it. Check out some of my other videos here and there, right? And I feel like I've just asked you guys to do 1,000,001 things, but you got time now, you're isolated, you're lonely, so holla at your girl, innit? Holla.